product of a tiny caterpillar, originated in China some 4,000 years ago. Kept a closely guarded treasure, its gentle technology was smuggled out to other lands around 300 AD. These were the Silk Roads to touch the world. It was brought to India via the Brahmaputra Valley, and later from the ancient city of Hotan through the valley of Kashmir. Here it found a lasting and glorified home. Soon, looms of various sizes and shapes spread over this vast subcontinent were inspired to new creativity by the touch of the silk thread, the queen of fibers, the product of the drama of sericulture. The soft-winged greyish moths, male and female. The female releases a special scent, her signal to the male for mating. Within a few hours, the female moth lays its eggs, some 400 to 500 eggs, each smaller than the head of a pin. The eggs give birth to caterpillars. These in turn feed on the freshest leaves of the perennial mulberry tree, their only food. And then the time comes to weave a home, a cocoon. It is done in a figure-8 pattern. The caterpillar disappears into the cocoon miraculously to transform inside, and in 2 weeks reappears as a moth to perpetuate the cycle of life and death. But the cocoon is there to offer a sensuous silken thread for the looms. And now for the machines. And here is the silk in all its splendor, enriching whatever it touches. India has more varieties and textures than any region in the world. And it is the only country which produces all the 4 known varieties of silk: Moga, Eri, Tassar, and mulberry. The moga of Assam is perhaps the oldest Indian variety. The famed golden yellow produced nowhere else. Eri silk is confined to East India, Assam, West Bengal and Bihar. Again, we are major producers. Tussar is a wild silk, capable of exciting textures, rougher, long-lasting, and produced over the entire subcontinent. In this variety, India is second only to China in production. The mulberry of China, transplanted in Kashmir, has spread to many areas. The mulberry silkworm is completely domesticated, while the other varieties are wild or semi-domesticated. The bulk of world production is mulberry silk, and India is the third largest producer after China and Japan. Silk, it is said, is the cloth of emperors, something to clothe the rich. It is expensive, and it takes a large quantity of cocoons to produce a small yardage of silk. But silk helps in transferring money from the richer to the poorer sections of society. In India, out of every 100 rupees earned from the sale of silk, nearly 52 rupees goes to the cocoon producer, 6 rupees to the reeler, 8 rupees to the twister, 15 rupees to the weaver, and the balance of only 19 rupees to the trader. It doesn't need much to become a supplier of cocoons. Good soil, flat land, clean air, planning and care of caterpillars, and mulberry trees. And there are the new dwarf bushes to make things easier in both temperate and tropical climates. Women are, in a sense, critical to sericulture. Their work and attention to the various phases ensures excellent results and a substantial income for the family. No need for these people now to move to congested alien towns. And prosperity is like a magnet. It draws the comforts they seek. The sericulture industry has a unique place in the economy. It is agro-based, employment-oriented, a rural industry for small and marginal farmers. 1 hectare of mulberry plantation can create direct employment for about 13 persons throughout the year. Some 5 million are already employed in over 50,000 villages. And many more in associated activities. The Central Silk Board, established by the Government of India in Bangalore, promotes the development of the industry in all its aspects. It approves the annual and 5-year plans of the sericulture states, providing advice for their speedy implementation. It is directly engaged in research, training, and the development of sericulture technology appropriate to Indian conditions.
This institute in Mysore has been able to do pioneering work in the field of sericulture, particularly with relevance to the development of sericulture in the tropical belt. It has got 2 different areas in which it has made pioneering contributions. One is for the development of mulberry varieties suited to irrigated conditions, as also the package of practices for it. Second is the development of silkworm strains suited to tropical belt.
Different mulberry varieties from all over the world have been collected and used for hybridization studies. New and better mulberry varieties are being evolved using the method of tissue culture. The new varieties have doubled the leaf yield per hectare. Agronomical experiments, including spacing between the plants, pruning heights, manuring, and irrigation schedules are being carried out in order to evolve a package of practices that can maximize productivity. Genetic stocks of silkworms have been collected from different parts of the world, mostly Japan, China, South Korea, Brazil, and France. Research is being done to evolve new multivoltine and bivoltine races. A breakthrough was achieved around 1970 when Indian research heralded the birth of the bivoltine era for tropical sericulture. a development of significance, not only to India, but for all the tropical sericultural countries of the world.
This is the bivoltine silkworm race evolved by the Central Sericultural Research Institute, Mysore. The race name is NB4D2. This is actually the foreign races which are by different crossbreeding system developed and acclimatized in this climatic condition. Its filament length is double to that of the local races, where local races we get only 500 meters of filament length, while in this bivoltine race we get 1200 meters. And these qualities are finer, and by this race we can make a very good fabrics which are of international standard.
The oozy fly, the pest of the silkworm, which posed a threat to the very existence of sericulture, has been effectively controlled by the development of a formulation, oozicide. Dusting a special mixture has been effective. It protects the silkworms from the 3 common diseases to which they are prone. An electron microscope has been installed at the Institute, and serious research on silk proteins, as well as disease-causing agents of mulberry and silkworms, has been initiated. The quality of raw silk depends on the quality of the cocoons and on reeling efficiency. The Central Silk Technological Research Institute at Bangalore tackles the problems of reeling and silk processing. The silk yarn is tested and graded after being put through tests which measure its evenness, twist, and tensile strength. To create the technical manpower to oversee the implementation of sericulture development programs of the states and of the Central Silk Board, a number of training programs are being conducted. The national program comprises 12 months of study at the Institute, followed by 3 months of field work. The course has both theoretical and practical components. An international center for training and research in tropical sericulture has been established under the Indo-Swiss Technical Cooperation Program to train candidates sponsored by different states in India and other developing countries from the Southeast Asian region. Extension workers are provided training to enable them to educate the farmers in the improved techniques of mulberry cultivation, silkworm rearing, and the control of diseases and pests. There are also programs for training the farmers directly. The National Silkworm Seed Project produces and supplies basic silkworm seed to the rearers. The thrust is to assist the farmer. The Central Silk Board has a number of research institutes in different parts of the country. Some state governments and universities are also engaged in sericulture research. The All India Sericulture Research Coordination Committee meets periodically to coordinate these activities. Headed by an eminent scientist and composed of research directors of the Silk Board and directors of all sericulture states, the committee not only reviews the current and ongoing projects, but also identifies and suggests new areas of research. To promote exports, the Silk Board has set up a number of certification centers. Silk intended for export is put through rigorous tests like the burning test, the visual test, the acid test, and physical examination. This is done to ensure that the silk exported conforms to strict international standards of quality.
The Central Silk Board is one of the oldest commodity boards to be established in India. It was established in 1949 by an act of the Parliament. Its main objective is the development of sericulture in India in all its aspects. We are now emerging as the second biggest silk producing country in the world, next only to China. Japan used to be the leading producer, but because of high labor cost, their production has come down. During these 30 years or so, we have developed sericulture enormously in the country.
The annual raw silk production has risen from about 900 metric tons in 1950 to over 7,800 metric tons in 1985. Export earnings from a meager 5 million rupees to nearly 1,600 million rupees. And employment from 1 million to over 5.5 million persons. During the next 5 years, it is proposed to increase raw silk production by 80%, export earning and employment by 50%. Silk is a material of high economic value because of the substantial involvement of human labor at various stages of its production. It is a natural material which captured the imagination of humanity over 4,000 years ago. It is a unique combination of fineness, strength, shine, and feel. Its affinity for dyes is unequaled. Silk is the queen of fibers, the miracle of 1,000-year-old skills. It is interwoven with our tradition and culture. It enhances the beauty of all that it touches.
da 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 da